I stand on the podium receiving my service medal when my father's palm cracks across my face. Camera flashes freeze the moment. My mother laughs behind her manicured hand. The packed auditorium falls silent like a held breath. 1 hour later, the FBI calls about my signature on papers selling the house I bought with blood money from 2 deployments. A house I never agreed to sell. My family calls it securing our collective future. I call it what it is, a campaign requiring tactical response. That night, 3 black SUVs pull up without sirens. I open my door and invite them in. The battlefield has shifted to my terrain. My name is Harper Lane, and I've faced IEDs in Afghanistan that did less damage than what my family just detonated in public. The Maple Ridge Town Hall auditorium smells like floor wax and disappointment. 200 faces watch as Colonel Mitchell approaches with the Bronze Star, its ribbon pristine against the velvet case. I stand at attention, muscle memory overriding the tremor in my jaw where my father's wedding ring just split skin. For meritorious service in a combat zone, Mitchell reads, his voice carrying across rows of folding chairs. The medal's weight settles against my dress uniform. Behind me, my mother Judith's laugh echoes that specific titter she reserves for country club gossip, and apparently, watching her husband assault their daughter. Leonard Whitman stands 3 feet away, straightening his cufflinks like he didn't just announce "You're no hero" before striking me. The photographers got it all. Tomorrow's headline writes itself, "Local Veterans Ceremony Takes Violent Turn." I don't touch my face. Don't acknowledge the warm trickle along my cheekbone. In Kandahar, we learned to catalog injuries without reaction. This is just another patrol, another potential ambush to navigate. "Congratulations, Major Lane," Mitchell says, concern flickering in his eyes. He saw everything but maintains protocol. Good man. "Thank you, sir." My voice stays level, though I taste copper where teeth met cheek. The reception follows in the adjoining hall, white tablecloths, grocery store cake, and my family occupying the corner like they own it. Mallory, my older sister, raises her champagne flute when I enter. Her husband Brad hovers nearby, always a satellite to her son. "To Harper's return," Mallory announces, loud enough for surrounding tables to hear. "And to the future of the Whitman family." Strange phrasing. I file it away, accept the toast with water instead of champagne. Need a clear head for whatever game they're playing. "Your face is bleeding," Mallory observes, like discussing weather. "You should clean up. Can't have photos from tonight looking unseemly." The women's bathroom mirror shows the damage a 2-inch gash, already purpling at the edges. I dab it with paper towels, watching red bloom against white. My phone vibrates. Unknown number, North Arden area code. Major Lane. "This is Special Agent Rowan Pike with the FBI. We need to discuss a property transaction on Hollow Creek Road. My house. The one I bought cash after my second deployment, needing something entirely mine." "What transaction?" "The sale completed yesterday. $500,000. Your signature appears on all documents, but..." Pike pauses. "There are inconsistencies. Can you confirm you authorized this sale?" The paper towel crumples in my fist. "I've been at Fort Brennan for 3 weeks. I never signed anything." "Understood. Major, I need you to act normally. Don't alert potential suspects. We have agents mobilizing. How many people have access to your personal documents?" "Through the door." I hear Mallory's laugh mixing with our mother's. "Just family. We'll be in touch within the hour. Maintain your current position." I return to the reception. Mallory has moved to the cake table, cutting generous slices like she's hosting. Our parents flank her, Judith touching shoulders with guests, Leonard shaking hands. The perfect suburban family, minus their damaged military daughter. Harper. Mallory waves me over. "Mrs. Patterson was asking about your deployment. I was just telling her how we all sacrificed while you were gone." Sacrificed. I watch her manicured hands gesture. Notice the new tennis bracelet, the designer bag. My deployment pay built their comfort while I ate MREs and counted mortars. My phone buzzes. Pike again. Reviewing security footage from title company. Keep them talking. Actually, Mallory, I say, voice carrying. Tell me about these sacrifices. I'm curious what the family endured while I was overseas. Her smile tightens. Behind her, our father's jaw sets the same expression before he struck me. But now I'm not standing at attention. Now I'm reconnaissance, gathering intelligence for the storm about to break. Through the window, 3 black SUVs roll into the parking lot, headlights off. The battlefield has definitely shifted. The next evening, I arrive at my parents' colonial on Rosewood Drive. The dining room is set for ceremony good china, crystal glasses, everyone seated in their designated positions like a military tribunal. I take my assigned chair, the one that's always faced the wall clock since childhood. Now that Harper's home, Mallory begins, folding her napkin with surgical precision. We can finally discuss the family's financial restructuring. The phrase hangs between the salad forks and water glasses. My mother passes the roasted chicken, acting like this is normal Sunday dinner conversation. What restructuring? I keep my tone neutral, though my phone recording app runs silently in my pocket. Mallory exchanges glances with our parents. The Hollow Creek property. We've handled everything efficiently. $495,000 cash sale. Closed yesterday. My house. Not a question. The family's asset. Leonard corrects, cutting his meat with deliberate strokes. You were deployed. Mallory had power of attorney. I never signed power of attorney? Of course you did. Mallory produces a folder from her bag, always prepared, always documenting. 3 months ago, here's your signature. I study the document. My name. But the Y in Harper curves wrong, the tail dropping instead of lifting. Amateur work. This isn't my signature. Stress from deployment can affect memory, Judith says, patting my hand like I'm a confused child. The important thing is the money's secure. The Whitman Family Trust will manage everything. Whitman Family Trust. First I'm hearing of it. Show me the trust documents. After dinner, Mallory says. The funds are already transferred. Consulting Services LLC handled the escrow. Very smooth process. My phone vibrates against my leg. Pike. Team standing by. Get account details. Which bank? I ask, reaching for the green beans. First National, but the funds have been relocated for better returns. Mallory's confidence is absolute. She's done this before, just not to me. Relocated where diversified holdings, some domestic, some international. The Cayman account yields 12%. Leonard's fork pauses mid-air. What Cayman account? Beautiful. Mallory just cracked her own vault. The one you said to, she stops, recognizes the trap. But it's too late. I need some air. I stand, walk to the front door, and open it wide. Pike enters first, badge visible. 3 agents behind him. FBI, we have warrants for this residence and all electronic devices. This is private property. Leonard rises, his face purpling like my bruised cheek. Sir, I need you to step away from the computer. An agent moves toward the den where Mallory's laptop bag sits. Mallory Whitman, Pike says, you're under arrest for wire fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit real estate fraud. This is insane, Harper. Tell them that you stole my house, that you forged my signature, that Consulting Services LLC is registered to this address. The agents are efficient. Evidence bags fill with devices, documents, the folder Mallory so proudly displayed. She's cuffed while Judith shrieks about lawyers and misunderstandings. Mr. and Mrs. Whitman. Pike addresses my parents. You'll need to come for questioning regarding your knowledge of fraudulent transfers to the Whitman Family Trust. We didn't. Leonard starts. You received email confirmations of the sale. I say. CC'd on everything. You knew I was at Fort Brennan. You knew I couldn't have signed those papers. The dining room clock ticks in the silence. 8:43 p.m. The chicken grows cold on the table. $495,000. I continue. That's what my service was worth to you. The house I bought after watching 3 soldiers die in an ambush. After 42 hours of surgery to save my sergeant. That's what you stole while calling it family restructuring. Mallory is walked to the first SUV. Our parents are escorted to the second for questioning. Pike hands me a card. We'll need your full statement tomorrow. 9 a.m. The title company footage shows your sister submitting documents. The notary admits she never met you, just someone claiming to be you. The house empties except for one agent cataloging remaining evidence. I stand in the dining room where they positioned me like a chess piece they could sacrifice. Tomorrow, the real investigation begins. Tonight. I drive to a hotel, my childhood home now a crime scene. The Whitman Family Trust wanted everything. They're about to lose it all. The FBI field office smells like burnt coffee and photocopier toner. Pike spreads documents across the conference table, my life reduced to paper trails and timestamps. The signature analysis confirms forgery, he says, pointing to blown-up comparisons. Your sister made one critical error. The Y in your signature has a distinctive upward tail. She drops it down, every time. I study the forgeries. Mallory always was meticulous, but muscle memory betrays everyone eventually. What about the title company? Fortress Title completely fabricated. The website went live 48 hours before the transaction. Professional job, but the IP traces back to your parents' house. An agent enters with a banker's box. Email records from the warrant. The parents were CC'd on everything, starting 2 months ago. I flip through printouts. Leonard and Judith received updates about Harper's property sale while I was sleeping in barracks 7,000 miles away. They responded with enthusiasm about family financial planning and securing our retirement. This was planned before I deployed, I say, recognizing the pattern. They waited until I was overseas to execute. The money trail gets interesting. Pike pulls up financial records on his laptop. $495,000 leaves escrow. Enters Consulting Services LLC registered to Mallory. Within 6 hours, it's split. $200,000 to Whitman Family Trust. $100,000 to an account in Judith's maiden name. $50,000 to Leonard's golf buddy who suddenly paid off his mortgage. And the rest. Whitlock Holdings, Cayman Islands. Mallory's been building this for years. You weren't the first mark, just the biggest. My phone buzzes a text from an unknown number. I show Pike. That's evidence tampering, he says, reading Mallory's message about destroying documents. She's desperate. I drive to my temporary apartment after the interview. In the parking garage, fresh scratches mar my car door. The security camera conveniently faces away. Classic Mallory petty intimidation when cornered. That night, I create my own investigation board. Tax receipts for the house, copied before the FBI took originals. Bank statements showing my cash purchase. Photos of Mallory at the supposed closing, pulled from the title company's staged website before it vanished. 3 a.m. I find it. Public records show Consulting Services LLC opened 5 accounts in 3 years, all closed after large deposits. Property records reveal 2 other suspicious sales elderly neighbors of my parents who decided to downsize suddenly. Same notary, same convenient timing. I forward everything to Pike, then search deeper. Mallory's social media tells stories lavish vacations tagged "Our Family First," new cars every year, renovations on her house that cost more than her husband's salary allows, all while I sent money home during deployments, thinking I was helping struggling family. The next morning, Pike calls. Your sister tried to access the Cayman account remotely. We were monitoring. She triggered our trace, confirmed the holdings 3.7 million total. From how many victims? We're identifying at least 6 elderly sellers, plus you. Your parents knew about 3 transactions minimum. I drive past my house on Hollow Creek. Crime scene tape crosses the door. The place I bought to finally have something untouchable. Something earned through my service. Not family manipulation. In the backyard, I spot smoke. Someone's burning papers in a metal drum behind my shed. I call Pike while approaching carefully, recognizing Mallory's car parked 1 street over. She's destroying evidence, feeding pages into flames, bank statements, emails, anything not yet seized. You always were too thorough, I say. She spins, clutching papers. This is private property. My property. That you stole. You don't understand family loyalty. Everything I did was for us. You mean for you. The vacations, the cars, the clothes, funded by fraud. You got your medals, your hero worship. We got nothing while you played soldier. The FBI arrives as she dumps the last papers. They're half burned but salvageable. Pike bags them, adds destruction of evidence to her charges. The forensic accountants found everything, he tells me privately. Shell companies, offshore accounts, a 10-year pattern. Your military service made you the perfect target deployed frequently, trusting family to handle things. That evening, I sit with boxes of recovered documents, my service records, deployment orders. Every moment I was overseas correlating with their theft attempts. They turned my duty into their opportunity. The investigation expands. Pike's team uncovers forged powers of attorney for 3 other service members, all deployed when their properties mysteriously sold. Mallory had a system. My parents provided credibility. The evidence is overwhelming. Digital footprints mapping years of calculated betrayal. Tomorrow, the arrests become permanent. Tonight, I catalog every piece, building the case that will dismantle their facade. They called it family restructuring. The FBI calls it racketeering. I send Mallory a text at 6:15 a.m. Thank you for handling the house sale so efficiently. The family's future looks bright. She calls within 3 minutes. Harper. Her voice carries hope and suspicion equally. You understand it was necessary. I'm beginning to see the bigger picture. I keep my tone neutral, defeated. Pike sits across from me in the FBI office, monitoring the recorded line. Maybe we should talk. Not at the house. Too many complications there right now. Complications meaning FBI evidence markers and seized computers. Your office, I suggest. Neutral ground. She agrees, eager to secure my compliance before trial. What she doesn't know, her office building's security upgraded their cameras last month. Pike's team already has access. I arrive first, parking where 3 different cameras catch my entrance. Mallory follows 10 minutes later, carrying a leather portfolio always prepared with documents to sign. You look tired, she observes, settling behind her debt consolidation company desk. The business is legitimate, ironically. She helps strangers manage financial ruin while orchestrating her family's "haven't been sleeping, keep thinking about the money." Her eyes sharpen. It's safe. Multiple holdings, impossible to trace. All 3.7 million. She doesn't flinch at the number. You've been doing research. I'm military intelligence. Mallory, did you think I wouldn't investigate? Then you know it's untouchable. Stored properly offshore, managed through shells. Even if they prove the forgery, they'll never recover the assets. I lean forward. Walk me through it. How did you manage the elderly neighbors? The Petersons never suspected pride overcomes caution. She details the system befriend through our parents, gain trust over months, wait for vulnerability illness, financial pressure, loneliness, offer to help with paperwork, create urgency, execute the transfer before family notices. The military families were easier, she continues. Deployment creates natural communication gaps. Power of attorney is expected. You just need the right notary. Christine Vales. You found her. She's relocated. Won't testify. Phoenix, 1243 East Camelback Road. The FBI appreciates your confirmation she's involved. Mallory's face drains. She reaches for her phone. But I'm faster. Military training beating suburban reflexes. They're listening, I say simply. She lunges for the portfolio, trying to destroy whatever's inside. We struggle briefly before building security enters off-duty cops Pike arranged. The portfolio spills account numbers, transfer authorizations, a USB drive labeled insurance, and plane tickets to Georgetown, dated for tomorrow. You were running. Not a question. You ruined everything Mom and Dad needed that money. Their retirement was underfunded. The house needs repairs. So you stole from 7 families including mine. You were never home, gone for years, sending occasional emails while we handled everything. That house was bought with blood money anyway. Blood money I earned. Friends who died while you planned your shopping sprees. Pike enters with agents. Ms. Whitman, we're adding flight risk to your charges. The Cayman account's frozen. By the way, international cooperation is beautiful when racketeering's involved. She turns to me while being cuffed. They'll get nothing. Dad knows people. Mom will cry in court. The jury will see a daughter helping aging parents. Not fraud. The jury will see email threads where you joke about Harper's donation while I was medivaced after an IED. They'll see you accessed my deployment schedule to time the forgeries. They'll see Dad's signature authorizing transfers while I was recorded on base 5,000 miles away. That evening, I meet Pike at the federal building. More victims have come forward, 2 Gold Star families whose death benefits mysteriously vanished into Consulting Services, LLC. Your bait worked, Pike confirms. She called Christine Vales immediately after leaving her office. We arrested the notary in Phoenix. She's cooperating for reduced charges. My phone buzzes Leonard, demanding I remember family loyalty. I forward it to Pike. Add witness intimidation. Your parents' lawyer wants to discuss a plea agreement. They claim diminished capacity, elder abuse by Mallory. They're 62 and still working. Dad plays tennis twice a week. Mom manages 3 charity boards. They knew. The files on Pike's desk grow thicker. Each page represents a family betrayed, savings stolen, trust weaponized. My evidence provided the thread that unraveled everything. The prosecutor wants you to testify. Full victim impact statement. I think of standing in that courtroom, facing them again. The father who struck me for receiving a medal, the mother who laughed, the sister who saw my service as an ATM. I'll testify. Every detail, every deployment they exploited. Pike slides a document across. Preliminary asset recovery. Your house plus damages. About $700,000 when settled. I sign where indicated my real signature. The Y rising like it should. Tomorrow. Mallory's bail hearing. Her husband Brad finally surfaced, claiming ignorance while moving money to his brother's account. The family pyramid is collapsing, each member scrambling to avoid the weight. They built their wealth on our absence, our trust, our service. Now they'll learn what it means when a soldier stops playing defense and starts the assault. The article appears in the Maple Ridge Gazette 2 days before the bail hearing. Decorated veteran accused of betraying family trust. No byline. But Mallory's husband Brad recently lunched with the editor. The piece paints me as cold, calculating, abandoning my struggling parents while pursuing military glory. Anonymous sources claim I promised to share deployment bonuses but kept everything. They mention my documented anger issues, the single session of mandatory counseling after the IED incident. My phone floods with messages. Fellow service members offering support. Confused civilians asking why I'd hurt my elderly parents. The narrative is shifting, exactly as Mallory planned. Pike calls at 7:30 a.m. Don't respond to media. She's trying to taint the jury pool. She's good at this. We're better. Check your email. The FBI traced the anonymous sources through phone records, all numbers connected to Mallory's office. The PR firm she hired left digital footprints. Wire fraud to add to wire fraud. That afternoon, my parents release an affidavit. Judith's signature shakes across the page, claiming I verbally agreed to let Mallory manage my assets. Leonard adds that I showed concerning detachment from family responsibilities. I read it in my apartment, remembering every care package I sent, every call I made at 3 a.m., their time because it was my only free moment, every letter I wrote from forward operating bases. The counteroffensive requires precision. I don't leak to media or post online rants. Instead, I visit the VA hospital where I volunteer. 3 veterans there also lost property to family fraud during deployment. We file a joint complaint with the state attorney general. Mallory escalates. A social media campaign emerges that are family first, painting her as a devoted daughter caring for aging parents while her sister chose violence overseas. Stock photos of crying elderly people. carefully cropped images from family gatherings where I'm absent because I was deployed. She doesn't realize Pike's team monitors everything. Each post adds evidence of obstruction, witness tampering, attempting to influence proceedings. The final straw comes Thursday evening. I'm reviewing evidence when my neighbor knocks someone left flowers at my door. White lilies, the kind from funerals. The card reads, "For your conscience, R.I.P." I photograph everything. Send to Pike, then check my security camera. Brad's car leaving the parking lot at 6:42 p.m. within hours. He's arrested for witness intimidation. Mallory loses her composed facade in the booking photos, hair disheveled, makeup smeared, the suburban perfection cracking. Her lawyer requests an emergency meeting. We gather at the federal building. Pike, the prosecutor, Mallory's legal team, and me. My client wishes to discuss a resolution. The lawyer begins. Full restitution for Harper's property, in exchange for reduced charges. She stole from 7 families. The prosecutor responds. This isn't just about Major Lane. The others were business transactions, complicated, perhaps poorly executed, but not criminal. I lean forward. The Petersons were 83. Mr. Peterson had dementia. She visited him during his wife's chemotherapy, got him to sign papers he couldn't understand. Allegedly. On camera. The hospital security footage from his wife's treatment days corresponds exactly with the signature dates. Your client knew she had a 3-hour window while Mrs. Peterson was in infusion. Mallory's lawyer shifts tactics. The parents were primarily responsible. My client was manipulated by her father's gambling debts and mother's shopping addiction. Interesting. Pike slides photos across the table. These are from Leonard's Country Club, no gambling, and Judith's credit cards show normal spending until the fraud money arrived. Then it explodes after they got paid, not before. The meeting ends without agreement. Mallory's team leaves deflated, their narrative collapsing under evidence. That night, I get an encrypted email from an unknown sender. It's Christine Vales, the notary, offering full testimony in exchange for immunity. She has recordings Mallory coaching her on forging documents, discussing how to handle suspicious bank officials. I forward it to Pike. He calls immediately. This breaks everything open. With Vales cooperating, we have conspiracy, racketeering, organized fraud spanning 3 years. The next morning, Leonard attempts one final manipulation. He appears at my apartment, shoulders stooped, playing frail. Harper, sweetheart, you know we only wanted security. After everything we sacrificed raising you, what sacrifices the college fund you spent on Mallory's wedding, the deployment care packages that never came, the family home you're now mortgaging to pay her bail? His mask slips, revealing the man who struck me at my medal ceremony. You always were ungrateful. We gave you everything. You gave me a target on my back the moment I started earning. Every deployment was another opportunity to steal. He leaves when I start recording. The security footage captures his transformation from feeble father to furious con artist in the elevator. Tomorrow, the bail hearing. Mallory faces federal charges that could mean 20 years. The PR campaign backfired. Journalists now investigate every family she befriended, every veteran she targeted. They painted me as the villain abandoning family. The evidence paints them as predators who hunted those who served. The reconciliation dinner is Mallory's idea, filtered through our mother's tears and our father's calculated remorse. One last family gathering before trial. They plead for closure. Pike sees the opportunity. Wear this. He hands me a device no bigger than a button. They're desperate. Desperate people confess. I arrive at the Rosewood house at 6 p.m. sharp. The dining room is staged like a memorial. Childhood photos, my basic training graduation picture, even my Bronze Star citation framed on the sideboard. Manipulation through nostalgia. Harper. Judith embraces me, perfume failing to mask the wine. We can fix this as a family. Leonard carves prime rib while Mallory sets the table with grandmother's china. Brad's notably absent, still under house arrest for the flower threat. Before we eat, Mallory begins, settling into her courtroom voice. We should address the misunderstandings. $495,000 of misunderstandings. The house was a burden during your deployment. We managed it for you. By selling it without my knowledge. You would have agreed if you'd been here. I set down my water glass deliberately. Walk me through the Cayman account. Who's the beneficial owner? Leonard's knife pauses mid-slice. What account? The one holding $3.7 million. Though I guess it's frozen now. Mallory's jaw tightens. That's family retirement planning. Completely legal offshore diversification. Using stolen money from 7 families. Acquired assets, she corrects. The Petersons wanted to downsize. The Grahams needed liquid funds for medical bills. The Grahams were dead. You bought their house from a confused cousin who thought you were an estate lawyer. Judith's hands shake, rattling her wine glass. Mallory said she was helping them. She was helping herself. Dad, you knew about the Graham estate. You introduced her to the cousin at the country club. I thought... He stops, realizes he's admitting knowledge. You thought what that stealing from Gold Star families was acceptable. Sergeant Graham died in Fallujah. His widow died of cancer. Their cousin has Alzheimer's. And you saw an opportunity. You don't understand business, Mallory interjects. These were complex transactions. I understand fraud. I also understand the FBI recovered your hard drives. The ones you thought Brad destroyed. He kept copies for insurance. The room stills. Mallory's phone buzzes. She reads it, face draining. Brad wouldn't. He would. He did. Full immunity for complete cooperation. He's detailing every transaction, every forged document, even the practice signatures you made him do. Leonard stands abruptly. This is entrapment. You're recording this. Just like you recorded nothing when planning to steal my house. Except you did emails. Texts, that family group chat where you joked about my donation to the cause. We're your family, Judith wails. Family protects each other. You protected yourselves, with my money, while I protected strangers in a combat zone. Mallory lunges across the table, trying to grab my phone. The china crashes, wine spreading across white tablecloth like blood. I sidestep, military reflexes still sharp. The Cayman account. I continue, backing toward the door. Pike knows about Whitlock Holdings. Also, Windsor Management and Cypress Investments. Shell companies layered 3 deep. You learned that from the military intelligence reports I sent home. Didn't you? The ones about terrorist financing. Get out, Leonard roars. The Caring Father Act abandoned. Gladly. But first, I pull out printed emails. These are from your lawyer to the prosecutor. Offering to testify against Mallory for immunity. Both of you. Selling out your daughter to save yourselves. Mallory turns to them, shock replacing rage. You wouldn't. Sweetheart, Judith starts. Don't. You're throwing me under after everything I built for this family. You got careless. Leonard says coldly. The Harper situation was too visible. You should have waited until she was deployed again. I'm forgotten as they turn on each other. Accusations fly. Who suggested what? Who knew which details? Who profits most from betrayal? The family unity fractures like combat stress, each member seeking individual survival. My phone records everything. 311 minutes of unfiltered confession, mutual destruction, the truth stripped of its suburban veneer. The doorbell rings. 3 short bursts Pike's signal. FBI. We have warrants. The door opens to agents, evidence teams, and a prosecutor who's been listening remotely. The reconciliation dinner becomes a crime scene. Grandmother's china tagged as evidence. Conspiracy to commit fraud, the prosecutor announces. All 3 of you, Mr. Whitman, Mrs. Whitman, your immunity deal is void. You can't negotiate while actively committing witness tampering. As they're led away, Mallory catches my eye. This is your fault. You and your precious honor. My honor's intact. It's just no longer for sale. Pike walks me to my car. The recording's gold. With Brad's testimony in this, we're looking at 15 to 20 for Mallory, 5 to 10 for your parents. They'll plea down. Not after threatening a federal witness at dinner. You did good. Major. I drive home through streets I know by memory, past the life they built on my absence. Tomorrow starts the real trial. Tonight. The family finally told the truth, even if they didn't mean to. The reconciliation dinner succeeded, just not how they planned. The federal courthouse in downtown North Arden feels like a forward operating base, security checkpoints, tactical positions, everyone watching everyone. I arrive at 8:15 a.m. in dress uniform, medals precise, appearance regulation. Mallory enters in shackles, orange replacing her usual designer suits. 4 months of pretrial detention has stripped the polish. Her lawyer, Davidson, looks equally worn. The prosecutor, Angela Reeves, nods as I take my seat behind her table. We've prepared for weeks, every document indexed, every timestamp verified, the conspiracy mapped like a battlefield. United States versus Whitman et al. Judge Harrison presides, a former JAG officer who understands military precision. Prosecution, opening statement. Reeves stands. 7 families trusted the defendants. Service members deployed overseas. Elderly couples seeking help. Gold Star families grieving loss. The defendants saw opportunities, not obligations. $3.7 million stolen through systematic fraud. She presents the evidence board, a timeline showing my deployments aligned with forged transactions. Red pins mark each theft, blue marks victims, green shows money transfers. The pattern is undeniable. Davidson counters with family dysfunction, painting Mallory as a daughter trying to save her parents from financial ruin. He doesn't mention the Cayman accounts or the practice signatures. First witness Christine Vales, the notary. She details Mallory's coaching, the rehearsals, the payments for each forged document. Her recordings play through the courtroom, Mallory laughing about Harper's donation while calculating her percentage. She said military families were ideal marks. Vales testifies. Deployed, disconnected, trusting family completely. Cross-examination fails. Vales has full immunity and nothing to lose by honesty. Next witness, Brad Whitman. Mallory's husband describes the home operation scanners, signature practice sheets, a laminating machine for fake IDs. He produces backup drives containing every transaction. She called it the family business, Brad states. Oh, said Harper owed them for raising her. Mallory watches her husband testify, fury replacing her coached composure. When Brad details the elderly victims how she researched obituaries for vulnerable survivors, several jurors visibly recoil. Day 2 brings the FBI's forensic accountant. The money trail unfolds like reconnaissance photos. Consulting Services LLC to offshore holdings. Layer after layer of concealment. Each transaction traced, documented, proven. The sophistication suggests extensive planning, the accountant explains. This wasn't impulse. This was a 3-year criminal enterprise. Then Pike takes the stand. He presents the arrest footage, the evidence seizure, the recorded reconciliation dinner. The courtroom hears my family discuss my worth like commodity futures, calculating how many more deployments they could exploit. My turn comes day 3. Reeves leads me through the timeline, each deployment, each theft, each return home to depleted accounts and family gaslighting about sacrifice. The house on Hollow Creek, she prompts. What did it represent? Freedom, something earned through service, not family manipulation, proof I existed beyond their schemes. When did you realize the fraud? When the FBI called during my medal ceremony, the same ceremony where my father assaulted me for receiving military honors. Davidson objects, but Judge Harrison allows it. Context matters. Cross-examination attempts to paint me as vindictive, abandoning family for military glory. I respond with deployment orders, combat reports, the names of soldiers who died while my family plotted theft. You could have managed your finances better, Davidson suggests. I was managing an ammunition supply point in Kandahar while coordinating medical evacuations. Forgive me for trusting family with paperwork. Leonard testifies next, trying for sympathy. His country club manner wavers under Reeves's questions about the elderly neighbors, the Gold Star families, his signature on transfer documents. I trusted Mallory, he claims. You trusted the money, Reeves corrects, showing his bank deposits aligned with each theft. Judith follows, crying through testimony that contradicts email evidence. She claims confusion, manipulation, elderly abuse by her own daughter. The jury sees through tears to the woman who laughed while her husband struck me. Closing arguments distill 3 years of fraud to simple truth. Reeves shows the victim impact retirements destroyed, medical treatments delayed, families shattered by those they trusted most. Davidson argues for leniency, family bonds, isolated mistakes. His client stares at me throughout, still believing I'm the betrayer. The jury deliberates 4 hours, quick for federal fraud cases. Guilty, all counts. Shuck, wire fraud, mail fraud, conspiracy, money laundering, identity theft. Mallory receives 18 years, eligible for reduction to 15 with cooperation. Leonard gets 7 years. Judith gets 5 with supervised release. The Cayman accounts are forfeited, funds distributed to victims. My house returns to me, plus damages totaling $700,000 blood money become justice. Mallory speaks at sentencing. My sister chose violence over family. I chose survival. Judge Harrison responds, You chose crime. Major Lane chose to serve her country while you served yourself. As they're led away, none look back. The family that built wealth on my absence leaves in federal custody. Pike meets me outside. Appeals are likely, but convictions will stand. The evidence is overwhelming. I retrieve my car from the garage, drive toward Hollow Creek Road. Tomorrow, restoration begins on my house. Tonight, justice is sufficient. The restoration crew finishes at Hollow Creek Road 3 weeks after sentencing. New locks, reinforced doors, security system fortress against future betrayal. I walk through empty rooms, each corner holding evidence markers ghosts. Pike sends the final paperwork. Asset forfeiture complete $495,000 returned, plus $200,000 in damages. The other victims received similar restitution. The Petersons' grandson sends a thank you card. His grandmother's house saved from Mallory's grip. My phone rings at 10:30 p.m. Federal Detention Center. You accept a call from inmate Mallory Whitman. I accept. One last reconnaissance. Harper. Her voice has lost its calculated sweetness. I'm appealing. I know. Brad took everything in the divorce, the house, the accounts I thought he didn't know about. Natural consequences. Mom had a stroke, minimum security. But the stress. She participated in fraud against 7 families. Silence stretches. Then, I'm not apologizing. I'm not expecting it. You destroyed us. You destroyed yourselves. I just provided evidence. We're blood, Harper. That should mean something. It did. That's why it took me so long to see the truth. She laughs, bitter as burnt coffee. Enjoy the empty house. No family, no connections, just your precious metals and principles. I have my integrity. You have 18 years to find yours. The call ends. I block the number. 2 days later, Leonard sends a letter through his lawyer. He's requesting early release for medical reasons. Diabetes he's managed for 20 years suddenly critical. The prosecutor forwards it for my input. I respond with his country club tennis schedule from the month before arrest. Request denied. The extended family surfaces like delayed bombardment. Cousin's email requesting loans, citing my windfall from the case. Aunts suggest I'm obligated to support Leonard and Judith's commissary accounts. A uncle implies I orchestrated everything for money. I forward all communications to my lawyer, establish no contact orders. The family tree is pruned to nothing, and I'm healthier for it. At the VA hospital, I meet with the support group for fraud victims. 3 veterans, 2 spouses, all betrayed by those they trusted during deployment. We don't discuss revenge or justice. We discuss rebuilding credit, trust, the ability to sleep without checking account balances. They knew we'd be gone, says Martinez, a Marine who lost his house to his brother. Counted on it. Now they're gone instead, adds Williams, whose wife emptied accounts while he was in Syria. Federal time runs slow. We draft a proposal for JAG mandatory financial protection briefings before deployment, verified power of attorney protocols, regular account monitoring for deployed personnel, turn our losses into institutional protection. The bank calls about suspicious activity. Someone tried accessing my accounts using old passwords, claiming to be updating family records. IP address traces to Judith's sister in Florida. I file charges. Add another name to the no-contact list. 3 months post-trial. A package arrives. No return address. Postmarked from the federal facility. Inside my parents' wedding rings. Mallory's high school graduation photo. A note in Leonard's handwriting. No longer family. I donate the rings to the VA charity auction. The photo goes in the evidence box, with all their other attempts at manipulation. Family isn't about blood, it's about trust they systematically destroyed. Pike calls with updates. 2 more victims discovered through investigation, distant relatives of my parents who invested in Mallory's fictional consulting firm. Charges added, sentences extended. The enterprise was larger than even the FBI suspected. I renovate Hollow Creek with intention. The dining room where we never gathered becomes an office. The spare bedroom Mallory claimed during visits is now a library. Each change erases their presence, replaces it with earned peace. A journalist contacts me about a feature story military fraud, family betrayal, justice served. I decline. The trial transcripts speak louder than any interview. Public record preserves their crimes better than any article. The neighborhood knows. Whispers at the grocery store, stares at the gas station. The family that seemed perfect, brought down by the daughter who served. They don't understand that serving taught me to recognize enemies, even when they share your name. 6 months after sentencing. Brad emails. He's remarrying, moving to Colorado, wants to apologize for his part. I don't respond. His testimony was transaction, not contrition. He saved himself by selling her out the Whitman way, inherited through marriage. Federal prison allows Mallory 1 call monthly. She doesn't use it on me again. Judith writes once, pages of manipulation disguised as maternal concern. Leonard maintains silence, perhaps the only honesty he's offered. I sit on my porch at Hollow Creek, watching sunset through trees they never appreciated. The house is mine, legally and emotionally. Bought with service, stolen through betrayal, recovered through justice. Tomorrow marks 1 year since the medal ceremony, since my father's palm cracked across my face. The scar is gone. The family is gone. The house remains. I'm at peace with all 3 facts. The morning sun cuts through Hollow Creek's kitchen window at 6:45 a.m. Coffee brewing, birds calling. No family drama poisoning the air. I've rebuilt more than walls, I've rebuilt peace. The restoration crew did excellent work. Every room they touched, every surface they repaired, stands as testimony that some things can be made whole again. The house breathes freely now, no longer suffocating under their schemes. I walk to the living room where my medals hang in a simple shadow box. The bronze star bears a small scratch from that ceremony, my father's ring catching the medal as his hand connected with my face. I don't polish it out. Some scars serve as reminders. My phone buzzes. Pike, checking in as he does monthly since the case closed. Harper, thought you should know Mallory's appeal was denied yesterday. The circuit court upheld everything. Expected. The evidence was airtight. Your testimony made the difference. Calm, factual, devastating. Training helped. Treat it like a mission brief. How's the house? Mine. Completely. After the call, I stand in my backyard. The metal drum where Mallory burned evidence is now a planter, growing tomatoes from seeds a fellow veteran shared, life from ashes, poetic justice, or just good soil. The doorbell rings. Delivery a thick envelope from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. Mallory's required financial disclosure for restitution payments. Even from prison, she owes her victims. The payments will be minimal, symbolic, but mandated for the full 18 years. I file it with the other documents. The evidence boxes in my closet contain a family's complete dissolution emails, forged signatures, photos of them celebrating with my money. Investigators suggested I destroy them after appeals concluded. I keep them as reference points, coordinates marking where I've been and won't return. The neighborhood has adjusted. New families moved in. Unaware of the drama, Mrs. Patterson still waves from her garden, though she testified about Mallory asking suspicious questions about her property values. The Petersons' grandson visits monthly, grateful their family home survived the attempted theft. At the VA hospital, our fraud survivors group has grown. 12 members now, all military or families, all betrayed during service. We've drafted legislation, the Military Family Financial Protection Act. Representative Johnson agrees to sponsor it. Mallory's crime might prevent others. I receive one final call from federal detention, but it's not Mallory. Harper. Judith's voice, smaller than I remember. I'm sorry. For getting caught. For not seeing what we were becoming. You saw. You chose to participate. Your father made his choices. You made yours. I made mine. Can you forgive? Forgiveness isn't restoration. I forgive for my peace, not your absolution. The call ends. I won't accept another. Evening falls over Hollow Creek Road. I open windows, letting October air flow through rooms they'll never enter again. The house feels larger without their presence, their expectations, their entitlement. Tomorrow, I return to Fort Brennan for my next assignment. The house will wait, secured and monitored, no longer vulnerable to family betrayal. My new will names the VA as beneficiary. No blood relative will profit from my service again. I open my laptop, review the final accounting. Every penny recovered, every victim compensated, every conspirator imprisoned. The mission is complete. In my bedroom, I pack uniforms for the return to base, each item folded with precision, placed with purpose. The same discipline that exposed their crimes, that survived their betrayal, that rebuilt this life. On the dresser sits the one family photo I kept my basic training graduation, before they saw dollar signs in my dress blues. That version of me believed family meant loyalty. This version knows loyalty is earned, not inherited. I set my alarm for 500 hours, muscle memory of military routine. Tomorrow begins another deployment, another service period. Another chance to prove valor isn't about blood relations but about chosen principles. The house on Hollow Creek stands solid in darkness, bought with honor, stolen through greed, reclaimed through justice. Every wall holds the truth: I served my country, they served themselves, and justice served us all. I close my eyes in my own bed, in my own house, with my own peace. No family portraits watch from walls, no obligations disguised as love, no betrayal wearing familiar faces, just a soldier's earned silence, and the knowledge that some battles are won by walking away from the people you were programmed to protect. The scratch on my bronze star catches moonlight through the window, a permanent reminder that heroism isn't about who raises you, but about who you choose to become despite them. My name is Harper Lane. I am a soldier, a survivor, and finally, genuinely free. Thank you for listening to my story of betrayal and justice. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Please comment below and let's connect. Subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and share your thoughts on family, trust, and standing up for what's right. Your experiences matter too.